prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as.
Look at the shields on the mark.
Oh my god, the drone's gonna take
Welcome back to game number 2 here between LaLuSh and RaNgeD for the winners round 1 matchups here for the IPL Season 2. I'm DJ Wheat from OneMoreGame.tv. Very excited here to be a part of IPL 2 and all the amazing matchups that IPL 2 is going to be presenting to us over the course of the season. Got some great commentators, some great content going around it, interviews from the IPL team, all sorts of additional match analysis and content coming out. So make sure you're checking that out over at IGN.com/IPL. We are now going to be jumping into game number 2 here on Xel'Naga Caverns between our purple Protoss, RaNgeD, in the northeast, and he is going up against LaLuSh, our red Zerg, in the southwest. We see the first Overlord heading out here. And, I just want to take a moment to talk a little bit about the Overlord scouting here as it relates to Zerg on Xel'Naga, because we are seeing something that a lot of the Zergs like to do here. First off, they're going to send the first Overlord more in a directional pattern leading up to the front of his opponent's base, and there should be enough time there for the Overlord to get there and then get to safety before like a stalker gets out. And then you'll see the second Overlord is going to actually go all the way across to like usually the lower half of his opponent's base, and this serves 2 really great purposes. The first one is you're going to see any sort of early scouting. If you look at the vision here, you're going to see that LaLuSh will actually widen his scouting view in the middle, and this is typically an early attack path for a lot of opponents. So also, once your Overlord actually gets to here, it gives you the opportunity to fly in if you need to get vision of your opponent's base, what they're doing, etc. This Overlord will likely get to the front, make sure, check for an expansion, and probably hide itself back here where it might be able to go back in, get a peek at what's going on inside RaNgeD's base. Now, LaLuSh also in last game took a very, very fast third, eventually going up to a 4th, powered a lot of roaches, and was able to just, quite frankly, overpower RaNgeD. So will RaNgeD be doing anything differently here? Hey, already we see some difference as we have a gateway going up inside the main and then the cybernetics core at the ramp for a block. Now, this is a pretty safe build to do, even though the first lings are going to be coming out here. Actually, I mean, I wonder what RaNgeD is going to do to block this particular area with. He has not started his... There we go. Warp Gate research is underway. He's going to go ahead and get out a Zealot, and then he's going to also have a Sentry coming out, and he's... Well, these lings are actually moving around, and so they won't make it up to the RaNgeD base right away, so we won't see any sort of immediate damage done. But he's going to have to throw down another building here, probably additional gateway, and there it is, as now the Zealot will be in a block position. So just kind of a different way. You might say, well, why exactly did we do that? We see a lot of these players just go ahead and make that first gateway and first pylon, etc., at the ramp. And, sometimes it's just a little bit quicker to move a probe over from the mineral line to back here. Also can sort of hide a gateway if the gateway is already completed. But the Zerg is going to be coming up here and get a good idea what's going on. There's a sentry there, too, for force field, so it shouldn't be that much of a concern for RaNgeD. He's going to have a second sentry coming out right now. More lings are making their way over, and speed actually is... Whoa, we got a lot of lings actually coming out here from LaLuSh. It looks like he's going to skip some droning here and immediately go. In fact, he's taken drones off of gas, and that typically is an indication that we may have some aggression here momentarily. We see that also when Zerg players like to drone as well. And, we're going to have these first units coming out here. There's only a couple lings, but he's going to be able to move in. Oh, great force fields coming out there. How many of these units will be saved? We're going to see one sentry go down. A second sentry goes down. In fact, a third sentry is going to go down as well. And those are very, very costly units to lose at the beginning of a matchup. He's also going to lose a pylon out here, and that was just a great decision by LaLuSh. RaNgeD right now must be feeling a little bit silly, and there's no more room or there's no more energy for any more force fields, so we're going to see the Lings moving up. We're going to have some more sentries warped in. I'm not sure that was the best decision, as they are going to, or they could be targeted down and quickly taken out. Is he going to actually go for them? No, he's not. These Lings might just decide to run away. We're going to see a block on the wall with a pylon. Going to take out another probe and maximizing as much damage as he could possibly do. He's already taken out several sentries, trying to pick off some probes here and there. The Zealot's finally going to help put an end to this with one last Ling running amok inside the base of RaNgeD. Meanwhile, he is going to also see the additional gateways going down, so he'll know exactly what he is up against. There are 4 gateways, and he will see that before the Ling is finally evicted from RaNgeD base. However, talking a little bit about that little attack, it was very smart by LaLuSh. He didn't give up too much. He stopped his gas mining. He got a few extra Zerglings out. And honestly, if RaNgeD had stayed inside his base, that would have been a much less effective attack, because LaLuSh was able to catch RaNgeD outside, surround those sentries, and just destroy those little snow globes like they were just fragile pieces of glass. Well, that was a big loss. So right now, RaNgeD could have up to 8 sentries. He's still picking off these Zerglings that are making their way in here, and this Zergling is not trying to do damage, but rather get some additional information. So here we also have, the first roaches from LaLuSh already making their way out. They're going to go ahead and take out these rocks early on. We're going to see a pylon back here from RaNgeD, and that could indicate some aggression coming from this location. Now, seeing this probe here is probably going to tip him off that something may be going on over there on the east wing of the map. However, it is not going to affect LaLuSh at all. We do see hallucination being used here by RaNgeD. He's going to get a good scout at what's going on, see that the roaches are taking out that gold. Meanwhile, the forge going down for RaNgeD here at the front of the ramp, and this Nexus is about ready to complete. Another hallucinated Phoenix making its way out, checking for any bases that might be out, anything the Zerg might be doing that's a little bit unusual. He's going to go in here and get a great scout of the main. And so this first hallucinated Phoenix was more checking what's going on around the base. Now we're going to have a second one making their way in, and he'll check out what's going on inside the base. As we have some roaches and Lings moving forward, there is actually a very, very deadly amount of roaches right here. And RaNgeD does have a lot of force fields, but you can see these roaches now. They could attack through this corridor and just move up here away from the main army of RaNgeD. Looks like that Ling made his way inside the base, and it could be a distraction. RaNgeD thinks that might be what is going on, and look at that. LaLuSh is going to decide to just go ahead and pull back. Why did he decide to do that when he could have done some damage? Well, here's a great explanation. He's throwing down a third. More importantly, he's throwing down a gold as a third. He's taken all of his gas now, and he can really begin to focus on tech. He's shown a lot of units. He's got now his Hydralisk Den going. He's got his Groove Spine going. And typically this is going to mean that the Protoss is going to also be getting out as many units as they possibly can. However, RaNgeD just really warping in what he needs to. His +1 weapons is about ready to complete. He's getting a Twilight Council as well. That's up here, right next to his assimilator. Another Phoenix hallucinated, of course, making its way out across the map. It will cross over the gold and see that that is up. And there are a lot of roaches there. Now we have 9 Hydras coming out here. Groove Spines is about to complete. And I'll tell you, that Roach Hydra army is going to be very, very deadly. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I do not believe that we have an Evo chamber down quite yet for LaLuSh. Some Zergs opting to get that down, and there it goes right there, so he can get his upgrade path started. Probably going to go with a missile attack upgrade first, and then, of course, he can kind of go anywhere from there. Some Zergs will continue to go with the attack. Some Zergs will go with Carapace as well. Now, have we got... no, we don't have Overlord speed quite yet, which can be very important with this particular army composition, because you want to get that creep spread out. Otherwise, your Hydras are not that great as a mobile or reinforcing unit. They'll run really fast from here all the way to here, and then the moment that they get off of there, they're just kind of slow and steady, turtle-like, to win the race. No new tech coming out here. In fact, we haven't even had That Evo chamber might have been just for some Spore Crawler anticipation here. So we have 2 more gases, and there is just a ridiculous influx in. There we have a Spire going down, a second Evo chamber. So here we go. So second Evo chamber goes down. That'll be getting Carapace. We got the +1 missile going as well. Checking out the Protoss here, it looks like we're going to have Blink, so a very similar to build to what he went with last time. However, remember, he lost an awful lot of sentries in that first engagement. Now, in game number 1, RaNgeD lost a lot of sentries in the second engagement, but the scary thing about LaLuSh's army is just the sheer amount of Hydras that he has. He's going to send some Hydras down to take out these rocks. Oh, nope, Zealots being warped in here, and something had to take care of those. And will he decide to counterattack while those Zealots are doing some damage? Looks like the answer is no, as RaNgeD is going to move around the side. He did not fight directly into that gold. Force fields are going to be very, very big here, and in come the units. A few of these units are going to get trapped. They're going to try to go into the safety of their mineral line, and it's going to be those sentries getting taken out that will be crucial here for LaLuSh in this battle. Right now, RaNgeD with that force field and fight advantage, but look at that, only 2 sentries left. Another sentry, excuse me, 3 sentries left. Another sentry is sniped off by those spine crawlers. Another one will get sniped off, and there are just so many Hydras with their range. They're still managing to do a lot of damage, and now that the force fields are gone, we're going to see a lot of movement here by LaLuSh. He moves forward. We're going to have a few more Lone Stalkers moving in, and this is not a great situation, although RaNgeD does have Blink. Right now, the Zerg forces greatly outweigh the Protoss forces, as Protoss sitting at 110 supply. LaLuSh currently at 177. He might be able to just move right into victory here. We're going to see the Hydra spreading out, getting a lot of damage. You can see how quickly these Stalkers will fall. The Roaches now starting to decrease in number, and due to Blink, this Protoss army compiled mostly of Stalkers is actually going to be able to do a ton of damage there. You see that most of our Roaches were killed there in that battle from LaLuSh by RaNgeD, and now that 4th base is going up. And this is typically the time where RaNgeD also has to be thinking about a 3rd base right now. He's getting his +1 armor going down. A couple of Overlords might get sniped here. You can see they are trying to drop some creep. And we do have Overlord speed on the way. Unfortunately, not quite done yet. So RaNgeD is going to get 2 free Overlord kills right there. However, I have to feel like LaLuSh is in a remarkable position. Depending on how RaNgeD decides to fight here, he could do a flank with the Zerglings, or he could just go ahead and run on in. And he's not going to do either quite yet. Continue to get out more units. There we have some Infestors coming out. But in just a moment, we will see LaLuSh at a fully maxed out army. Only Stalkers right now for RaNgeD. If we look at that unit tab, there's 40 Stalkers out on the field. And are we going to have an engagement here? Yes, we are. The Lings will move forward. There's the Blinks. The Lings will give a little bit of chase, and it looks like the entire army of LaLuSh will want to move forward. Now, LaLuSh would love to have some creep right here. The creep would give him a better escape path and allow him to be a little bit more offensive. He is going to have an Overseer come into play just in case there might be a Dark Shrine in play, and I do not see one right now, but certainly possibility in here. The Zerg moving forward once again. He does have 5 Infestors, and this choke could be really nasty if those Infestors get some good fungals off. But there are an awful lot of Stalkers here between these Lings and the Hydras. Will he be able to do it? Here we go. Oh no, the Infestors are out in front. The fungals will begin to go down. The Zerglings starting to stream in as well, and now the Zerg forces moving forward. He needs to throw down a few more fungals here, and it looks like just because of the sheer damage that these Hydras can output, the Roaches will get taken out. That'll be the quick shield, but the Hydras will do a lot of damage here. A great, great, great spread, however, by RaNgeD, and that means that this army from LaLuSh is going to be completely annihilated. However, I'm not sure that there's much of a counterattack. Actually, there might be a lot bigger counterattack opportunity than even I thought here, as some Roaches are beginning to come out. Roaches, don't run into your death. We do have those Infestors. They're still managing to get a bunch of energy, but RaNgeD had just a beautiful positioning in that battle, and with 40 Stalkers and Blink, he was able to blink safely back into his base. Now we've got another engagement here. The fungals do go down. Roaches are going to move forward, but Roaches are actually moving, not attacking. So are the Infestors. The fungal is going to run out. More Stalkers coming in and joining in the party with 10 more on the way. Now a few more. A lot of Infestors. getting taken out here. There's another great fungal. Oh my gosh, GG. And I guess that RaNgeD just knew that since he was only on 2 base, he had lost the majority of his army, and some fresh infestors were coming out, that there was going to be nothing that he could do. He had wind of the 4th base. He obviously knew that the gold was up with a macro hatch as well. And we will see LaLuSh advance on to the winner round 2 here for the IPL Season 2 winner round 1 matchup. That was LaLuSh defeating RaNgeD 2-0. I'm DJ Wheat, and I'll see you for another game on IPL 2.